What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo.
Don't open this water. This is mine.
It's the empty water.
There you go.
Listen, how y'all doing today? How y'all doing? Hope
Come
y'all
on in
doing
the
good.
room. Absolutely. I'm so excited.
You're not gonna apologize for being late.
I apologize for being tardy, you guys. There are many factors why I was tardy, but the point is, I am Ashley Denmark.
You just gonna skip over all that?
Can we do an intro first and then tell later?
Let's talk about she got these new gadgets and she don't know what she's doing with these gadgets.
I'm learning. It's a process.
So
it's the process.
That's why she got us late.
Absolutely. Right. So look, welcome you guys to REI Decoded. My name is Ashley Denmark.
I'm Antonio Denmark.
We are your funding experts. Today we are so excited because we're going to talk about getting some business funding in 30 days. All right.
The one thing I want to say is that business funding is not just real estate centric. You can get funding for whatever business you have. There are strategic ways to do it. So understand that this is not just real estate funding that we're talking about. Make sure you ask your questions. Make sure that if you have a personal situation going on and you want to talk to us about either starting to get funding or your situation in particular, there's usually a 15-minute link in the chat that you can just book a 15-minute call. We ain't selling you nothing. We just want to talk to you. If you think that you need some real estate coaching or you need some mentors, same link. Just talk to see how we best can help you and serve the community. Let's go.
Let's go. So it's not letting me do it it's not letting me post it in REI Decoded. So Yasmin, can you do me a favor? If you are listening, can you drop the
I see the Pipeline Pro link already.
No, but it's only going to YouTube.
Oh, your gadget ain't working?
No, it's StreamYard. Yeah, Antonio's being petty. He better be ready. Y'all ready?
Good money on this gadget. It ain't
Someone
said,
I just want to spend.
What I need to do.
Wait, I just want to stop spending my money. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I will say this: you are on the right track mentally. Once you get on the right track mentally, that's the start of it.
The link.
We're not already coded.
No, we are.
15.
We're good. Here's the link for the 15-minute. That's what I needed. All right. So just for the record, since Antonio wants to tell on me and y'all want to laugh, listen, I have a new baby over here. It's called Stream Deck. All right. Stream Deck allows me to control the stream, but however, I haven't fully set it up. So there's some things that I can do, and there's some things that I can't do today. But we're gonna make it work just like that. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
I think the mouse could do all that stuff. So I mean,
let Ash be great. You see that? Let Ash be great. Ash be great. Let Ash be great.
You got a little support. You got a little backing. You got a little support.
Let me be great.
All right, let's go, man. All right, let's talk.
Let's talk, you guys, for real. Let's do the thing. All right. So you want to talk about what business funding is before we just jump into it? Like, because I think some people get confused with business funding and personal funding. So let's kind of talk about what it is. Business funding typically does not report to your personal credit. There are different ways, and we're going to talk about different ways that you can get business funding. But the good thing about business funding is that it doesn't report to your personal credit. All right.
Most of them don't report to your personal credit. There are some that will report to your personal credit, but most of them do not report to your personal credit. Where I would want to start is understanding that there are multiple ways to get business funding.
Facts.
All right. So understand that business funding is a big category. And we try to break it down to where it's bite-sized and understandable. All right. So when you hear people say, I want to build my business credit, they are more so talking about getting what we call tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 accounts. All right. Those are entry-level business accounts. A lot of times they're like net 30 accounts sometimes, but those are things to where you're building your credit score.
You're building your business credit score. All right.
All right. But the thing that you are building your business credit score up to do is to go to big banks and get credit cards and lines of credit and loans in your business name without using your EIN. All right. So understand that you can go about it two separate ways. One way is building it the traditional route, the slower route, as we like to call it, where you're getting tier one, tier two, tier three accounts, Granger accounts, Office Depot accounts, things of that nature, to build up your pay debt score or your Dun and Bradstreet number and those things. But what we like to focus on is kind of the fast track way, and that's using your good personal credit to get business funding in your business name that don't report to your personal credit.
All right, let's talk about it.
All right.
All right. You're on silent. Okay. All right. So the first thing when you are getting business funding is making sure that you have the right data points when it comes to funding. So that when I say data points, I'm saying making sure your personal profile has enough accounts, looks good, doesn't have any derogatories, so that you can go for funding. All right.
You're also looking at how your business is set up.
Mm-hmm.
So understand that the structure of your business plays a role in also getting business funding. No matter if you are building it the slow way or you're doing it the fast track way, both of them, it is important to have your business structure and set up the right way. All right. And we're going to talk about kind of what that structure should look like and what some advice when setting up that LLC.
All right. So the first thing you need in order to get business funding is you need an LLC. So you want to make sure that you have an LLC, that your LLC is set up. Because they're not lending to your personal, they're lending to your business. So in that effect, you need a business LLC. All right. With that structure in that business LLC, you want to make sure that you're not in a high risk industry. So you want to make sure that you aren't putting trucking, you aren't putting salons, you aren't putting
real estate,
you're not putting capital, things where
cannabis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Please don't put cannabis. You don't want to put those things because they're going to be flat. So you want to spend time with setting up that entity and setting up that LLC to make sure it's not ash properties or ash trucking, ash cannabis, any other ones that I missed.
Denmark investments.
Yes.
So you want to stay away from those things in your name because your name can trigger high risk industry a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. You ready? Okay. An EIN is important. An EIN, you can do it yourself. You can file it. I think it's www.irs.gov, and then you just put in EIN, and it'll take you to that page. That EIN shows that your business is legit, that you filed taxes for, or you're planning on filing taxes for, and that you have been set up with the IRS as a business entity.
Yes. EINs, if you do them yourself, they're free of charge.
Yes, EINs are absolutely free.
Do you have a business bank account? One of the things that we always like to tell our people when they're going for funding is set up business banks accounts. Because the thing about business funding is they like to do business with people that they have a relationship with.
Right.
You are more likely to get business funding or a line of credit or a credit card if you have an account there. And the way we kind of like to describe it is if a stranger come up off the street and ask you for $500 and you don't know them, there's a high chance you're not going to give that money to them.
Right.
But if there's a family member or a friend that comes and asks, the chances increase because you know them and you have a relationship with them. So understand that. Can you get it without having a relationship? Yes. But the best way to do it is to have a relationship with the bank that you're trying to get the funding from. And a lot of times people ask, what's best? Credit unions, big banks? I would always say start where you're banking. Wherever you're banking, that's going to be kind of your first line of entry to trying to get business funding a lot of times.
Absolutely. So some good banks that you should have relationships with is Chase, Wells Fargo, Navy
PNC,
Federal, PNC. Like you want to have relationships,
Truist.
Truist, absolutely, with those banks. Now, it doesn't have to be a long-standing relationship, but it needs to be a relationship, okay?
Yes.
And let me say this, you need to deposit some money into that checking account, okay? Because that shows, okay, you don't need money, but you're trusting in us. You're trying to build a relationship with us. You're allowing us to hold your money so that we can do business together and potentially more business in the future. So, yes, put some money in those accounts. Don't be afraid to put some money in those accounts.
You ain't using the thing?
I didn't program that. I'm still working on that part.
All right.
I'm still working on that part. All right. Business address structure. You want to try not to use your home address. Wait, someone asked a question. Doesn't matter the institution, for example, using Square Business Banking. Again, go to where you're already banking. You want to probably use them first if you're doing it yourself. And you want to make sure that wherever you go, you build a relationship. If they allow business banking accounts, you want to pull those business banking accounts. So yes, you can use Square. Yes, you can use Bank of America. You can use a lot of them. Someone said, why does Bank of America always act stingy? Because you don't have a relationship with them, and because they have a cap on how much you can make from your income before they start asking for proof. So they're not giving away a lot of money if you don't have a lot of income. And the cool thing about not cool, but the thing about Bank of America is they'll ask you. They may open up a bank account with you now, but they may ask you later for proof if you put too much money. So Bank of America has already tightened up on a lot of their policies when it comes to business funding.
Yes.
So that's why they extend you. They have the right systems in place to make sure that they're not just giving away money, but they're actually funding people who are in right standings and who need some startup.
All right. Yeah, another question coming in.
Okay.
Y'all got questions? Ask y'all questions.
Does the money come in matter? For example, payroll. Oh, does how the money come in matter? For example, payroll. No, it doesn't matter how it comes in. You can do a wire to the checking account. You can do an ACH to the checking account. You just want to make sure that you establish a relationship. And just think about it like this. Nobody wants to be around someone where you don't let the world know that you're in a relationship. My pastor says this all the time. The banks want to know that they're in a relationship with you.
Okay.
You know you say that.
The left field over there now.
But seriously, okay, another question is, do you suggest putting your direct deposit into business bank accounts to show deposits? Maybe not your direct deposit from your job, but maybe you can direct deposit a portion of that into your business.
Agree.
But not your whole check. No. Because remember, you want to keep
business. Yeah, business not and personal.
Business personal, yeah. So if the owner is contributing, and I'm just going a random number, if the owner is contributing $500 a month to the business, then that's an owner's contribution to the business monthly. But don't put your whole paycheck and then you swiping everything that's not business related in there. Don't do that.
Yep.
All right. And then somebody said, what about Regions? Absolutely. Use Regions Bank. Absolutely.
And let me say this. It doesn't necessarily have to always be that relationship is in the form of business checking. You can have your personal accounts at these locations too. That's still a relationship.
Yes, absolutely. You want to use you want to use a PO box, not your home address, or you want to use a virtual office. If you're asking for business lines of credit, you're asking for a large, substantial amount of business funding, they want to know that you got a brick and mortar, or at least it look like you got a brick and mortar and not doing it out of your house. There's only so much revenue that you're going to produce in your house without needing that business entity. I mean that business setup. So you want to make sure it's not your home address. You want to make sure you either have a virtual office or a office.
Yep.
If you want to use OPS is the virtual office, you can use that code. We're not affiliates of OPS, but we got that code from a friend and thought that, hey, it may help you.
Yep.
All right. Someone put any feedback on AmFirst as business banking options. I have a great relationship with them. Listen, again, it doesn't matter what bank it is. If you have a relationship with them, you want to try and see if you can use them for business funding. Absolutely. Now, understand, and we'll get to that part later.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, use them if you have a relationship with them. Absolutely.
It'll be more about what your profile looks like than the bank. Now, there are some banks that's easier to work with, but there are some banks, if your data points are in line, your personal report is in line, you can get funding.
Yes. How many business accounts do you think is adequate to secure funding? So you don't have to have business checking accounts to secure funding. Let me first of all say that. But if you want to maximize on your funding, you want to get the business checking accounts. You can get funding without having business checking accounts. To maximize it with whoever you're going with, you want to have a business checking account if they allow business checking. So, for example, American Express is not allowing you to have a business checking account. That's not a product that they offer, right?
I don't think so.
That's not a product that they offer. So you wouldn't set up a business checking account with American Express.
I don't think so.
They don't.
So it's the account. There is no limit to the amount of accounts. It's just how much funds you have. Now, if you have the money, you can go set up. They do offer a business checking account. I know I ain't never used it.
I never used it. Nope.
But you can go. Let's say you go set up 5 accounts and you put $500 in each account. That's your funds. If you can do it, that's great. But don't necessarily get caught up in that. Work off what you can work off of.
So I said Amex is virtual. Okay.
Thank you for telling us.
Yeah. And I've never had anyone set up an account with them. But that's a good thing to maybe look at. All right, let's get deeper. Say something. I want you to.
But I ain't saying nothing. Just
all right.
Keep using that mouse.
So use your business phone number. And not your personal phone number, not your cell phone, not your house phone. Use a business phone number. It can be a 1-800. It can be a local number. But just use a separate number. Try not to use a Google Voice. But if you have to use a Google Voice, then use it. But try not to use a Google Voice. I know it's free. I know it's tempting. Try not to. There are a lot of different phone providers that you can use that you don't have to use Google Voice.
One thing I'll say is, you even though you are a small business, don't set your LLC up like a small business. You got to think big. You got to think this is going to be bigger than big. So when you're setting it up, that's what you want to present is, I have a thriving business. I'm looking to grow this business. I'm looking to be more than just a at-home type business.
Right, right. Register with the 411. You don't have to register with the 411 when it comes to getting business credit cards, but when you're going for the lines of credit, you want to register it. You want to do as much as possible if you're trying to get large, substantial amounts. Now, if you're only trying to get, let's say 20, 30, 50,000, you can skip that part in total transparency. But if you're trying to really establish yourself and you're trying to do something major and something big, register your number so that it comes up with your business entity name when someone does it. Danielle said, think big. Absolutely,
yes,
think big.
Yes. And you can use Bonus Business to get your number. We use UMA.
Yes, UMA is who we
UMA
use.
is our virtual number. So you call us, you're calling our UMA number. That's our virtual number.
And some of your CRMs, if you're using a CRM, some of those CRMs actually provide phone numbers that you can use. UMA is spelled OOMA. OOMA. Uma.
What's the one Mama use?
Is it Grasshopper?
Grasshopper is
Grasshopper.
another one that people have been using. Grasshopper's a little cheaper than Uma. Uma has a little more bells and whistles, but Grasshopper is just as good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Put you a quick website together, okay? It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to have all these pages. Listen, for all y'all that use Canva, let me tell you, if you use Canva, you can create a website on Canva for free, for real. All right. You just have to map it to your GoDaddy if you use GoDaddy, but you can use Canva and it can create you one like swiftly.
Yeah, there's a lot of templates already made. Like just use a template, edit some information, and push it through. Don't sit there a whole month trying to create a website, y'all.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
You could have already had funding, okay? If it takes you longer than 3 days to create this website, you need to hire somebody from Fiverr to do it so that it can be done.
Agree.
All right. Fiverr is spelled Fiverr.
Wix is a good one too.
Wix is a great one.
Yes.
So Fiverr doesn't have websites, but they're freelancers that can create you one in as little as 24 hours. For your emails, don't put your Gmail, don't put your Yahoo, don't put your Bell South. Please don't put AOL, okay? Please. Get an established one. You can buy it through Gmail where it says ash@home123, or you can get it from GoDaddy and they'll allow you that option. If you don't buy anything, buy you an email.
So like our official email is support@thedenmarks.us. So like whenever you buy your domain, a lot of times you can buy the email that kind of matches that domain. And I know that you're spending money, but understand we're thinking big. Just like Danny B said, we're thinking big. So it takes money to run these things. So you can't go to somebody and say, hey,
let me get $200,000.
Let me get $100,000, but you don't even want to spend $100 on your business a month.
That's the problem.
All right. So make sure you get your professional email. Not saying you can't use a Gmail for other things, but that professional email when you're going for funding is big.
Absolutely. Danny B say facts. All right. So we talked about data points really quick at the beginning, but let's dig deeper into data points. Let's start with personal and then we'll ease our way to business. When we say getting personal funding, we are not talking about getting personal credit cards. We are talking about getting either lines of credit,
installment
loans.
Not necessarily credit cards, all right?
Yes, because credit cards will make your credit score go up and down just based on utilization. Installment loans, whatever you have, it doesn't, whether you use it or you don't use it, it doesn't create that increase like a revolving account does. Someone said, what's wrong with using Gmail? So what's wrong with using Gmail is because it's free and it's not a real business.
It's not professional.
It's not professional. It's just not saying you can't use Gmail. Okay, let me say that. Not saying you can't use it, but I'm saying is don't put it on your funding application. Okay, don't put it on your funding application. Don't use Gmail on your funding application. But if you
even in our CRM that we're using,
they won't allow us to send out emails because Gmail has currently stopped people from sending out mass emails. Like it's supposed to be a personal thing. Gmail wants you to pay for their G Suite. Like they want you to pay for it. But our CRM has recently, I think it was as of February 1st, where you can no longer send it out from a Yahoo, a Gmail, or anything else. It has to be from a established
domain website.
Yep. So great question.
So data points when it comes to your personal credit. And this is what an ideal report will look like. All right. This is what we're striving for. This is what we see the best results for when we are going for funding and looking at people for funding. A 680 credit score. Yes, you can get some stuff with a lower credit score, but 680 is where you want to be. 680 and above. All right. No collections are no derogatories, no late payments, nothing in collection. Those things will automatically get you denied on some applications.
Yes. You want to make sure that you got 4 to 5 primary accounts, and those are accounts that are active. They are not closed. Like, you want to make sure you have 4 to 5 of them in pretty decent standing.
And understand that reporting to your credit report is considered a if it's reporting to your report, you can start to count that unless it's a authorized user or something like that. But a telephone bill is not a primary account that's on your report. All right. Understand you need things, you need a mortgage, you need car payments, you need
a mixture of accounts.
Mixture of things. You need credit cards, you need stuff that's on your report.
Yes.
Not your light bill.
You need 1 to 2 years in credit age, if you're going for personal funding. So if you got more, then guess what? That's a plus. But you need at least 1 to 2 years of history when it comes to your credit report.
And understand it's the average of the accounts on your report. So if you have one account that's 10 years old and another account that's 1 year old, you have the average of those. So you have 5 years of age on your credit report, not 10 years. So understand they're going to take the average of those accounts. That's what they're going to judge your credit report off of.
Yes, you want to make sure you have less than 7 inquiries. An inquiries, when you're looking at inquiries, you're looking at them per bureau. Okay. So you're looking at Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. You want to make sure that you are less than 7. Okay. And then for utilization, you just want to make sure you're under the 30% mark. And remember, we always tell you, if you're at 30%, that at 31%, that's when the creditors feel like you need it. So it becomes debt when it comes to your credit report, not necessarily credit where it's enhancing your score. So you want to make sure you stay under 30% at all times, because you want it to reflect in a positive manner on your credit report. All right.
Yep. Minimum of
1 personal credit card with a minimum of a 5,000 limit.
Why is that 5K so important?
No one wants to be the first person to give you a large lump sum. So if you only got a $1,500 credit limit, guess what? No one's gonna want to give you 5. Like, nobody wants to be the first, but 5 is that threshold where you at least want to have 5 so that somebody can offer you 10, or they can offer you 15. When they're not,
they can
offer
at least
15,
match the 5.
Yeah, they're either gonna match the 5 or give you 10 from a credit card standpoint.
So understand that when you're going for personal funding, this is a big question that we get a lot. Will this affect my credit score? Yes. All right. Understand this will affect your credit score for a couple of reasons. One reason it's going to affect your credit score is because you're getting inquiries. All right. When you get inquiries, that's going to deem your report 2 or 3 points. All right. So off the top, yes, you're going to get dinged a couple points. Also, because you have new accounts, that's also going to affect your credit score. But understand that increase is only 10% of your account. All right. Understand that installment loans are only 10% of your accounts. So yes, you're going to get a ding, but understand that it's going to be so much easier to recover that in 3-4 months, you're going to be back to where you was. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's a long-term ding. It's a short-term ding. And then you're going to recover because your payment is going to go increase. Also, your age of your report is going to go up. So all those things play a factor in if I get personal credit, will it affect my score? I'm going to say this again. Ashley said it. I'm going to say it. Our ideal for personal funding is not to get credit cards, y'all.
Do not use credit cards. You are trying to invest with personal funding.
That's not an ideal thing that we're trying to do, because when you max out those credit cards on the personal side, that's going to destroy your report. All right?
Ask us how we know.
That's going to destroy your report. So you don't want to do anything that's going to completely jeopardize your personal credit, because as long as your personal credit is in line, you have the ability to be creative and go get funding from different banks.
Absolutely.
All right. And a lot of times you're doing personal funding because you don't quite have business funding. All the things for business funding, which we'll go over next. So personal funding is those things that we name. Now we're going to go over from a business funding standpoint. What does that need to look like? Understand, we're still talking about your personal credit, and we're still talking about trying to get business funds that do not report to your personal credit.
Absolutely. All right. So credit score for business funding, you want to have a 680 or higher. You want to make sure, again, there's zero collections or derogatories. You want to make sure there's zero late payments. So no missed payments, no late payments, none of that. You want to make sure instead of 4 to 5 primary accounts, you have 10 plus primary accounts. I've had some students that get by with 7, but
8 is about the minimum.
It's like really treading on thin ice. Making sure that your credit age is about 4.5 years when it comes to your credit age.
Remember, it's the average now.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. It's not how old the oldest account on your report is. It's the average of all your accounts.
You want to make sure that your inquiries are lower, less than 4 inquiries per bureau. The less amount of inquiries you have, the better it is. And you want to make sure those inquiries are not in the last 6 months. That's really important. While you're going for funding, don't try to do personal and business at the same time. Don't try to get a little greedy and I'm gonna do a little personal and I'm gonna do a little business. No, stick to business funding, let it run its course before you go through personal funding. All right. You want to make sure that your utilization is under 20%.
Ideally 10%.
Yes,
but
the
20
closer
is like
you are to 0, the better.
Yes. And we haven't said this yet. Banks want to lend money to people who don't need money. So understand that. No, that's just how they operate. If you look like you need money,
that's a red flag.
That's a red flag to them. They want to give people money who don't need money, who barely use the money. Like that's how they operate. That's their safe zone.
Minimum of 2 personal credit cards with a minimum amount of $5,000 each. So it's very similar to personal, but in this you're gonna have more accounts, you're gonna have more age, less inquiries, and less utilization when it comes to business funding. All right. Drop y'all questions in the chat if any of that confused y'all. All right. I get this question so many times. In fact, I get this question after it's already been set up, where people get so excited and they're like, yeah, I'm ready to go get funding. I just created my LLC over the weekend. And I'm like, how much you want to get in funding? Well, I was thinking about 50 to 100,000. Guess what? A new entity is not going to bring you 50 to 100,000 in business funding. Yeah. Unless you got a heck of a profile where it's strong, where they just they don't even care that you're a new entity. Most people don't have a profile that looks that good. So it's harder for them to get a lot of funding with a brand new entity. If you're creating your new entity, the cost for you to do it yourself is about $300. That's filing with the Secretary of State. Remember, we told you the EIN part, that's absolutely free. So just the Secretary of State, whatever state you're in, is typically around $300. In Birmingham, it's a little under $300. It's about $250. But depending on what state you're in Alabama, depending on what state you're in, really determines it. It's about $500 or higher for someone else to do it for you. So just know if you got a quote for $1,000, that's because they're doing it for you on your behalf, and it costs for somebody else to do it versus you doing it.
Agree.
New LLCs are going to give you anywhere between $25,000 to $35,000 in funding. So if that's your goal, you just need a little bit to get you started. Then yes,
$35,000 is not a little bit of money, Ashley.
Yeah, well, it depends on your business entity. Absolutely, absolutely. It depends on what business you're doing. Somebody said, Yasmin told me about H Corporation. How does that work? We're gonna get into it. Okay.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So we said it. Yeah, we said that part. So let's talk about a 1-year-old entity. A 1-year-old entity, You can either have a 1 year old entity that you're using, or you can purchase an entity that is 1 year old. That is 1 year old. There we go. To purchase it, it's about 2,500 if someone has to do it for you, and that's just to get you a 1 year old age entity. If you already have one, then that's 2,500 you don't have to do. But make sure it's not a high risk industry, and
that name is good.
That name is good, because that really matters. All right. 1 year age LLCs receive anywhere between 50,000 to 80,000 in funding.
Because you're not brand new, you got a little history. Your credit profile is in line, so that's about what we see consistently, about $50,000 to $80,000 in funding with a 1-year-old LLC. Whether you have that LLC or you purchase that LLC, that's about what we see.
So the person that asked about the age corporation, if you're purchasing it, then that's considered an age corporation, an age LLC. All right. A 2-year-old age LLC, you want to make sure it's at 2 years old. That's when you hit like groundbreaking. It's like, okay, your entity has been established for a minute, so we can trust you a little bit more to give you a little bit more based off your personal credit. All right. If you don't have a 2-year-old age entity, then you can purchase one. You can purchase one for about $5,000. Someone will make sure all your paperwork's in place, and get it filed for you so that you have an established, basically, you transfer the ownership and you get that established entity. All right. 2-year-old age corporations, LLCs, they're going to get you anywhere from 100,000 and up.
And it doesn't have to be an age corporation. If you have your LLC for 3, 4, 5 years, you can use that if the name is right and things are good. But we're just saying, hey, if somebody doesn't have an LLC, these are the options that you have.
Absolutely. All right. When it comes to that profile, that credit profile, and everything is not in line, there's ways that you can really boost your profile, make it look good without necessarily getting a lot of inquiries, and just doing it without the inquiries, most importantly. One is self-lender, getting a self-lender account.
Kickstart, Experience Boost, Rent Reporters, all these things will add accounts to your report. They will add payment history. They will make your credit report look a lot better. Without getting inquiries.
Because those inquiries are so important. You have some banks, if they see that you're going for funding with another bank, then they're going to decline you because it looks now like you need this money. Yes. So it's important to really know when you're going for business funding, what order, what sequence to hit those banks up with, because at any point you can get complete denials and get no money at all, or very little money when you should have gotten more. What does PMB stand for? Is that a post office mailbox? Is that a PO box?
Virtual address.
If it's a PO box, don't use a PO box. But if it's a physical location attached to it, then use it.
Yeah.
All right. These are some recent fundings that we've done where they went through business funding. This client had a 2-year entity that they had already had. They were already using in business, and they got 80,000 in funding. So first it was like, okay, we got 40,000. Okay, we got 10,000. Now we're waiting on Amex. All right, we're waiting on Navy Federal. All right, now we at 70,000. It's just when we thought that 70,000 was over. All right, we just got another one. It's 80. And
less than 30 days.
Less than 30 days. Making sure your entity is right. Making sure your personal profile on your credit report is right. Turning that credit into cash.
Yep.
Do you remember this person?
Mm-mm.
All right. So congrats on getting your funding. I know it's been wacky, but we got it done. Just the FYI, nothing about this process of becoming an investor will be smooth. This person got 113,000 in funding in 30 days. Like, and not that they couldn't get any more. They're like, yes, this is our
That
final
was
total.
enough.
This is all. This is where we're gonna stop at because this is where we felt comfortable at. All right. I think they had a 725 credit score, and they were partnering up with each other to make the process work. But the funding was just on one of the business partners. This was another student. Do you remember his profile?
Mm-mm. Who this is? Yeah, I know I ain't put the presentation together.
You're gonna look at me so I can tell you. This is Tyler.
Oh yeah. He actually, I don't even know how he got as much as he got. I think he was around that 710 range also.
Had just a few inquiries. He
Had,
had like 3
yeah,
inquiries on each profile. Nothing major. And his entity, the crazy thing is he set it up but didn't completely set it up where he never officially downloaded the EIN letter. So he had to like
do
his
some
took
extra
a little
steps.
longer because he had to go back and ask the IRS, okay, can you send me back that EIN letter that I took a screenshot of it, but I never downloaded the actual letter that actually said the number. But he got 152,000 to jumpstart
His
his
business.
business.
And he used his own LLC.
Yes, this was an LLC that he used.
So these are PGs. And what we mean by PGs, these are personal guarantee cards. So you are personally guaranteeing these cards, but they're not showing up on your personal credit report.
Yes.
All right. So that's the key thing to remember, because if I get a $20,000 Amex card and I max it out, I will not affect my personal credit.
Right.
Personal credit stays good. Once you get it, you do what you do to keep it. All right.
And when you personally guarantee it, you get access to more credit faster than you do if you're not. So if you're not personally guaranteeing it and you're having to build it, it takes about 6 months to a year to really get this type of funding in your business versus you can do this immediately in the first 30 days.
Yep.
All right. This next client, they did an age corporation, a 2-year age corporation. Ooh, I haven't kept the name. Where they completed the funding process, had a really good, strong profile, very little inquiries, and got a total of 178,000 in business funding.
And they stopped, y'all.
They stopped. They probably could have got about 250, but they stopped because they said, okay, this is enough for us to start with. We'll do it again. We'll do more if we need it.
But the one thing about them is they did purchase an age corporation, because they had LLCs, but their LLC name was in the high
risk
industries. So it was like, with the credit profile you have, let's invest in getting an age corporation. That way we can maximize the funding. So they did buy a age corporation, and kind of how we do it from a real estate world is, if we get an age corporation, no matter what the name of that age corporation is, we will say that's our lending company. So if that lending company got $178,000, we will loan $50,000 to our real estate business, and we can get our hard money loans or our real estate loans in our business that was already established. We just got a loan from our other funding entity.
And then we're gonna do no mortgage just like anything else, because they're funding the deal, and then they get paid back off at the end of the deal, and then you get your profit. So it's a partnership at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Someone said, is it harder to get business lines of credit versus business credit cards?
Yes.
Absolutely, it
With
is.
most business lines of credit, they are trying to get your documentations and they're trying to see how much you've made. It's not stated income.
Mhm.
Most credit cards are stated income. So you are providing that information. With the lines of credit, they are asking for your tax returns and they want to see your documents. So that makes it more challenging if you haven't been generating the funds that you want to generate.
Absolutely. What are some other questions you guys have? Anything we missed, Tanya?
Uh-uh. Ask your questions. If you're interested in business funding, book a 15-minute call. We can talk about it. We ain't selling you nothing. Um, let's just talk to see how we can help and see where your credit profile is. Because keep in mind with those data points, we showed you what an ideal report looks like. But there are sometimes you can still get funding and not have everything in an ideal situation. So sometimes if your late payment was 3 years ago, you can probably still get some funding.
Right.
All right. So it's just a matter of analyzing the report to seeing what it looks like. And understand that business funding could really jumpstart your business and what you're trying to do. Like a lot of times we feel like we have to save money to start our business.
And let me just say this. If you're able to get $100,000 in business funding, it's gonna take you a long time to save up $100,000 to jumpstart your business.
I haven't said this. Yes, it's good to have a good credit score. If that credit score ain't making you no money, what is it good for?
Right.
Like
if it's not saving you money, like what is it good for?
Like we hold that credit score so near and dear to our hearts, but understand you got to make money with that credit score.
Right.
If you got 800 credit score and you don't got $8,000 in the bank, there's something wrong with that, y'all. I'm sorry, I got to tell you, there's something wrong if you have a 800 credit score and you don't got $8,000 disposable income in the bank to go do what you need to do. Adjust that, change your mindset. Yes, it's good to have the good credit score, but it's all about cash. It's all about making money work for you. It's all about being able to OPM, which is other people's money.
Yeah, and just think about it. How many deals can I do with $100,000 in funding versus using the $5,000 $10,000 that I have saved in my own account, or using $20,000 that I have saved.
And the stress that comes with using your savings.
You
like
now you have no rainy day.
There's a level of stress that comes with using your savings. I'm gonna always tell you to OPM, use other people's money first, and use your funds for a rainy day.
Yeah.
Like if you put your funds out first and then try to go get funding in a bad situation, it's likely you're not going to get funding. But if you say, hey, I'm gonna OPM it first using other people's money, but I'm gonna still look good on paper and have my money in the bank, I might can go borrow money to get out of that situation and not even have to deal with my money. Right. Worst case scenario, I gotta use my money at that point in time. But my level of frustration is a lot lower because I am using other people's money.
Right. All right. Someone said, did we answer the PNB and UPS? Tell us what PNB stands for. I think that's probably, if it's the post office, if it's a PO box, then do not use a PO box. But if it's a virtual address and it actually has a brick and mortar where if you Google it, it's going to show an office, then yes, use it. But if it shows a PO box or it shows the post office as the spot, then they know you're not running business in the post office or in UPS. So as long as it has a brick and mortar that you can actually Google and see, then use it. And I think just to clarify, there's exceptions to everything. Okay? So there's some exceptions where you may have your personal address and you may get funding for it. But these are ways to maximize your funding so that you can get the most when it comes to it. And instead of just rushing into it without properly structuring it, ask yourself that question: what am I trying to get out of this? What do I need? What are my goals? Because that actually helps with determining what parts of this strategy you need to put in place. If your credit score is 700 or higher and you don't have an entity, but you want to get 80 to 100,000, then guess what? If you want to get 50,000, don't use a brand new LLC because you're going to have limitations. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be on the high end of that spectrum where you may get up to 50. You may get the lower end. You may get the 25 to 30.
Yep. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We also have a mentorship where we kind of talk about these type of things. So if you want to learn more about our mentorship, book a 15-minute call. Let's roll back.
Yep, I think Yasmin has already posted it in the chat, that 15-minute link. Go ahead and book it. And let's go from there. All right.
All right.
If you are having a hard time finding it and you're like, okay, well, I don't see it, here's an easy way to get to it. Go to Den Knows Funding and schedule a call with us. Go to Den Knows Funding website right here, denknowsfunding.com. Go to that website and let's schedule a call.
If you need an A's Corp, talk to us.
Absolutely. All right.
Ready to roll?
Yes.
All right.
All right. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. We will see you guys next week. Same place, same time.
If you're in Birmingham, property walkthrough tomorrow.
If you're in Birmingham, come to our property walkthrough tomorrow.
You don't got none of your things lined up, or
you get on my nerves. I know what we didn't do.
What we didn't do?
I want to tell you.
It's all good. I know we didn't do the countdown.
Property walkthrough tomorrow starts at 11:30
That's
a.m.
in person, y'all.
If you are in Birmingham or surrounding areas.
Let's talk about some rehabs.
Let's go. All right. Let's do it, you guys. Love you.
Peace.